Listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. It is Thursday. It is 2 minutes after 12 bells. My guest, Jillian Barberie.
Did you call me Barberini?
Barbarella.
Barbarella. I like that.
Yeah.
Call me Barbarella.
So what is that, Italian?
It is. By injection. I married an Italian.
You did?
Yes. But we're divorced.
Say it again. The name.
Barberie.
Barberie.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it?
I don't know.
Well, everyone thinks that I look Italian, but I'm not. That was just by name.
So what are you then?
Well,
Just pure Valley?
no, actually, I'm was adopted, but my birth family were both born and raised in one London via Lithuania, and then my birth mom was born and raised in County Cork in Ireland.
Ah.
And then they immigrated to Canada when they were 17 and had me.
But then they adopted.
And then they put me up for then they got one look and they were like, peace out, put me up for adoption. Then they got married and tried to get me back.
Why do you think they didn't want you?
They were 17.
Oh, they didn't have a clue.
They had just immigrated from two different countries and met in Toronto. And obviously, were sexed up.
Yeah, so it was a one night.
No, it was actually they were together a few months. She got pregnant. She came from a very Catholic family. So her birth mom.
No abortions.
Oh, God, no. So her birth mother had 8 kids and they lived. I just saw the house last year. I visited it. And it was tiny in Toronto with all these 8 kids. So she didn't want to tell her mother she was pregnant. So she picked a fight and moved out and went to like a home for wayward women or girls. Yeah. And then they had me, put me up for adoption, and they felt guilty. So they went back to the Children's Aid Society. They got married New Year's Eve. They went back January 1st. It was closed. They went back the 2nd. And then they were told that I was adopted already, which wasn't true. I was in foster care. I wasn't adopted legally for a year and a half. So anyway, they stayed married for 20 years and had two daughters. So I have 2 full sisters. And we're all close. I met everybody. I hired a detective and found everyone.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a great story.
So you did come. So they did get you back? No, they didn't.
No.
They tried to.
Yes, they tried to, and they were told that I was already adopted. But, it was the 60s. She was Catholic. She was being punished. The social workers weren't exactly there to help her.
So you think if they would have got you back, you would have had a
totally different life.
Not a good life.
Oh, yeah. My sisters they had an amazing life.
So they were good parents then?
Great parents.
Your original parents.
Yeah. My sisters, one's an engineer and one worked at the film festival in Toronto. Great, great girls.
So you're Canadian then?
I was born in Canada.
But
I'm a Canuck.
Yeah.
But, I guess ethnicity or heritage or whatever I would say he's Lithuanian. I couldn't even pronounce his last name, but he was born and raised in London until he was 17. And she was Dublin. But I think maybe about 6 months ago got a letter from the UK, and it was from a man who's doing his wife's tree, her her whole family tree, and I was on the tree, and the man turned out to be essentially my birth dad's cousin is Linda Lawrence, who is married to Donovan for 45 years. And the weird part is I've interviewed Donovan.
And you didn't know?
Oh, no. We had no idea. And one visit, she was in the green room. Donovan came on Good Day LA for a week. We had no idea. I think I may have met her. We've now been speaking on emails and sending pictures of our kids back and forth, which is mind-blowing because my son looks exactly. I guess she had a son as well with Jones of the Rolling Stones. Brian Jones.
Brian Jones.
Yeah, they have a son, Julian.
My real dad.
There you go.
Not really.
So you and I could have been related. Who knew? Apparently, I had a very busy family in the UK. But, yes, so she was with Brian Jones. Didn't marry him, but I think they were together 7 years. And they have, Julian is, I think, maybe a little older than I am.
I don't think he was the marrying kind.
I don't think he was.
Mr. Jones.
No.
Joneses, I don't think.
But she was with him for 7 years and toured with him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And then she met Donovan, and Don adopted Julian, and then they went on to have 3 daughters, I think, who are my, I guess, cousins. I guess they'd be third cousins. I don't know. And we've been speaking on Facebook and stuff. It's fun.
So you like getting in touch with people you're related to, kind of?
Well, they reached out to me this time, and they invited me to a festival. Donovan was headlining in October in the UK, but I couldn't get my son's visa ready. Right. So I wasn't able to go. And but we're hoping to meet this summer because he has a place out here. But how ironic, he lives in Ireland,
Yeah.
not far from where my birth mom was raised.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your story? I mean, my God, can we just talk about you and the Sex Pistols? Are you kidding me?
I don't want to know about any of my families that I've never met. They might want money.
I bet they would. But you know your family, right? You're not adopted.
No, I've got a weird deal.
Story?
Yeah.
Were you like put up for adoption or anything or no?
My mum had me when she was 19 or 20 with this other man who, you know, they were young. They was in the mid-50s. They were into rock and roll. My mum used to like jiving, and my dad was a teddy boy, which was
of course in England, of course.
And I've got some good pictures of him actually.
Oh wow!
When he was a teddy boy. And, you know, they had me. They didn't know what they were doing. And it fell apart. He split and left my mum with me and my nan.
Did she raise you?
My nan did for about 6 years, who was amazing.
I bet.
My nan was the best. My mum didn't really have the tools. And then she met this other
bloke.
Jerk off. Mm-hmm. Horrible geezer.
Really?
Yeah. And
was he older?
He was older. And he was a weird dude, and I don't want to get into the details, but it all went wrong when my mum got her own place with this guy. I was staying with my nan for 6 years, and everything was normal. I was like being raised, nurtured, all the rest of it.
Perfectly, yeah.
And it all went.
It all
changed. It went to.
Why? Because she wanted you back. Your mom wanted you in the house with the geezer.
My mum, well, I guess my nan was like, okay, time to get your own place.
Oh,
you know, you got this fella, and then you got me. So they got this little basement, dingy place in a place called Shepherd's Bush.
I know that.
And it all went horrible.
That's so
really
sad.
Horrible, you know.
And you were only 6?
I guess so, yeah.
And then how did you? I bet you turned to music very early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how did you even start with getting into it? Did somebody give you an instrument?
No, I gave myself instruments.
From like
the back of vans and stores.
They fell off a truck kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of.
So then you parlayed that. I mean, that scene that you came up in, my God, I was obsessed with that in Canada, watching that happen and afraid of it, but mesmerized by it.
Yeah.
The punk scene, just seeing the whole thing go down.
Yeah, it was fun.
Took over. Well, first of all, you guys really were it. Like, when you think about... I think about
I'd rather you say it than me say it.
Well, I think about the Sex Pistols. I think Vivienne Westwood, Malcolm McLaren, and I think that whole scene was just talk about encapsulated. Like to me, it's like the Stones, what they were, the Beatles, Guns N' Roses here in America, and you, the Sex Pistols, for that genre.
Yeah.
You guys were it. I mean, there was no one. I know there were other bands that were doing it, but
yeah, everyone claims they started it, but.
Come on.
I don't have to say who started it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that stupid debate. It's just like in the 50s. Everyone was the king of rock and roll.
Right.
Everyone was the king of rock and roll. Who would you say was the king of rock and roll?
Well, personally, I liked Chuck, but I know everyone said Elvis,
right?
Which I believe, you know, but I do like.
I like
Chuck Berry.
Me too. I like Gene Vincent. I like Eddie Cochran. I like Little Richard.
Right.
You know, they were all great.
But you think the king would be Elvis?
Well, I mean, he never wrote a song.
He didn't?
Never wrote one song.
I guess he didn't have to. He didn't want to. He just
it's just what a lot of people were like that back in them days. People would write songs for you.
That's how it is now, it seems like. Well, you'll get somebody like a Sia, who's such a prolific writer, and then give them to Beyonce or sell them to whoever. What wasn't like that when you were? I mean, you guys wrote everything. Obviously, it was you. It was
yeah. But like in the 50s, you know, the Brill Building were knocking out song after song for different artists. Not the real hardcore ones like Eddie Cochran. You know, wrote his own ones. Gene Vincent, did he write his own ones? I think so. Chuck Berry obviously wrote all of his. Well, he co-wrote them with the other guy on the piano who didn't get a lot of credit.
But how did you go from that?
Jerry Lee Lewis. He wrote some good ones.
Yeah.
You know,
didn't he marry his 14-year-old cousin though?
Yeah, I mentioned that once.
Yeah.
And it didn't go down well with him in the room. You know, I was interviewing him.
Oh! Well, it's like, dude, you married her. I didn't. Why is he pissed off at you?
And it ain't a secret either.
Yeah.
You know,
it was out there.
But he's an honorary old sod.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Yes, there's certain ones that get up there and they're really cantankerous.
You remember that shovel?
Oh yeah. You brought up London, and he just was ready to walk out of the room.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. I love that.
Yeah.
It's moments like that.
No, he's the real deal.
Yeah. Well, how did you go though from listening to music like that when we talk about like real essential rock and roll and creating what it was that you guys created? Because there's no template for it. You can't just like listen to and then do what you guys did. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I guess things just happen, you know.
Well, were you guys really angry, or was it just that kind of sound?
No, I think there was a lot of angst, maybe through lack of knowing our instruments. You know, I mean, I could barely
Right.
play. I literally was playing guitar 3 months before we did our first show.
Oh my God.
So, you know, and John had never sung before, and you know, the first time he heard himself, we did a few shows, but we never had monitors. We just had like a PA that I acquired.
Off a truck?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And when we actually did a show opening up for another band, they had monitors. And when he heard his voice, he freaked out.
What do you mean, bad? He didn't like it?
Yeah,
or
he
like...
freaked out. He kicked the monitor into the thing because he never heard himself, and
Yeah.
he's he
Didn't like
ain't your normal singer, even though a
No.
lot of people have emulated him since at that time. And I think that was just lack of, any of us
Yeah.
really knowing what we're doing.
So because I remember watching it as a young girl in Canada and just being mesmerized and frightened and not even understanding it.
Yeah.
But seeing the fashion and how the whole movement was so strong and just like a wave taking over.
Yeah.
And being just terrified, thinking, God, what if I was in that audience? Look at that. It's insane. It's just, it's complete anarchy.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved everything about it. I remember going to school and just, I don't even know if I knew who Vivienne Westwood was at the time, or Malcolm McLaren, or their whole, what that all was about. But definitely the Sex Pistols, big thing. We were in Catholic high school, and the big thing was to have all the buttons, all the Sex Pistol buttons on your jacket, on your jean jacket, and everyone would get in trouble. And it felt like, we were like maybe 15 or 14.
Yeah.
But it was part of, it was our way of being part of what that movement was.
Yeah,
It was so
yeah.
far away, and it was so awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
How long did that last for you?
Not long, really.
Really?
I mean, it was from late 75 to like 78, 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Not
But
long.
the
One album, basically one album.
Right. But the impact of that one album is crazy.
Yeah, it was a definitely
Funny because I always think of, obviously, Sid Vicious, but Johnny was like a big part of. Are they telling you to stop having me stop interview you?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
we're going to play a Sex Pistols song because you're talking about this.
Oh, good.
We're going to play Annick in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Should we play it now?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got plenty of time. You're in no rush, right?
I'm in no rush. I got a show at like 3
3
o'clock.
o'clock,
I might
yeah.
not even get there.
Yeah.
It's like down the hall and around the corner. I don't know. You never know.
Okay. We're here with Jillian
Barbarella.
Barberie. Barberie. That's what I
I
said,
like you say
man.
I like you say Barberie.
Barber.
Yes.
I'm going to get
That
my hair cut at the
at
barbers.
Barbers.
Playing Annick in the UK. Jonesy's Jukebox. Carlo has take it away.